Welcome to our Sunday meditation town hall. I'm always so delighted to see all the names and faces pop up on the screen. Even after all these years, it's sort of a miracle that we're able to be here together in this way. So you can arrive. I don't know about you, but I constantly feel like I'm always arriving and arriving again. And sometimes it's nice to have permission to do that rather than to feel like we've gone off track and had to arrive again. Instead, it's just the way of life. We're always arriving. So I give you permission for however long you're able to sit with us today to continue to arrive as many times as you need. Welcome again. My name is Kelley Amadei, and I have the great honor of leading us in practice today. We'll begin with some chanting and praying and or listening, whichever, all of the above or whatever you prefer. And then we will have a little bit of discussion about what we're actually here to do. Maybe that's a selfish intention because I find it helpful to continue to remind myself in each moment what I'm here to do and why. And we'll do some practice. We'll come back to a little bit more of guidance and sharing of some teachings from Dilgo Khyentse Rinpoche, a little bit of Ram Dass peppered in there, and with my own take on it all. And then we'll practice some more. So we will start with the refuge in bodhicitta. Make that a little bigger. If you are like me, it's hard for me to see anything without glasses, or I need to enlarge it. So. Sanje chodang suki chuknam la janchu padu dakni kapsu chi daki jinso ki pe sonam ki drola penchir sanje drupa shok. In Buddha, Dharma, and supreme spiritual community, we go for refuge until fully enlightened by the power of all six perfections, from generosity to non-dual wisdom, for the sake of all beings. May we realize Buddhahood. And the four immeasurable aspirations. Really feel into the words as you hear them or say them. May all beings possess happiness and the inner causes of happiness. May all beings be free from suffering and the inner causes of suffering. May all beings remain undivided from the sacred joy which is free from suffering. May all beings come to rest in great peace and equanimity, beyond attachment and aversion to friends, enemies, or strangers. And the four dharmas of Gampopa and Longchenpa. Bless and empower us that our minds and hearts turn toward the Dharma. Bless and empower us that our Dharma practice becomes the path. Bless and empower us that the path truly dispels confusion. Bless and empower us that confusion itself dawns as primordial awareness. So here we are again with our intention to awaken together, to awaken ourselves, our hearts, our minds, for the benefit of all beings, not the least of which ourselves. And in my own practice, I've been reminded again and again and again that the best thing I can do in this moment in time is to continue to awaken, to free myself. And the more free I can become, the more of a healing presence I can be in the world. And so when the world starts to feel a little overwhelming, when I'm trying to figure out what can I do, what action can I take, I come back to my seat, I come back to my practice, I come back to the Dharma teachings, and I go inside. A couple weeks ago, Lama Surya was on, which was such a special treat for us all, and he talked a lot about interiority. Right? We spend so much of our lives and so much of our time gazing outward, reacting outward. And the real salve, balm, the real healing comes from turning our attention inward to heal ourselves so that we can be that which we want to be in the world. So that all the triggers that come our way, all the things that are happening in the world that activate us in a way that we show up in a more compassionate and loving way, in a way that we feel more ourselves rather than less ourselves. And the truth is, none of us can do this alone. We're not meant to do it alone. The Buddha said so. The Dalai Lama said so. Lama Surya reminds us of that. And so here we are, awakening together, practicing together. I'm going to read you two short quotes. I believe they're quotes from the Dalai Lama. They may be paraphrased quotes from Lama Surya, but either way, I think we're all right. Prayer and meditation are important, but today we need more than that. We need to cultivate together and develop warm-hearted, compassionate altruism and loving actions together to help make peace, harmony, and mutual understanding possible in our world. We need to each get enlightened, and we need each other to get enlightened, because we need to develop warm, empathic compassion and altruism, as well as discriminating wisdom and mindfulness. We need each other to do this. We need this practice to do this. We need this space to do this. And so let's do this. Let's sit. Let's arrive. And so always we first arrive with intention. What does it mean to arrive? First, we must sit. And just in that, just in the sitting, just in the arriving, feel into the sensations in your body. Just here, right now, something is happening. You're sitting, maybe you're sitting on the floor, maybe you're on a chair, perhaps you're lying in a bed or out in nature. Begin by cultivating the awareness of what's happening right now. Truly arrive. And you may be receiving some information from different parts of your body. So check in with that. What feels contracted or tightened? And invite that area to relax just a little more, to release just a little more. Breathe into it. If that means stretching, that means deepening your breath. You listen to what's coming up for you. So here we are. We're sitting. We've arrived. And the next instruction is just breathing. What a relief. There's nothing else that you need to do right now other than just breathe. What a relief. So this is perhaps where things start to get a little, or appear to get a little tricky. In the just breathing, you may notice things coming up, thoughts, feelings, sensations coming up that feel like they take you away from the just breathing. And the only problem with that is when we view that as a problem. Part of being human, part of being in this incarnation is that we have a brain, we have a mind, and it thinks thoughts. It feels feelings. One of the skillful tools of this practice is to, one, not make that a problem, to two, be aware that it's happening. Maybe flip those. Maybe one, you have to be aware that it's happening. And two, don't identify it as a problem. Allow the thoughts to arise, by itself arising, witnessing it, it's in your field of awareness. What happens if you just allow it to arise within your awareness and you do nothing with it? Just keep breathing. Open. We don't want to close down to the thoughts and the sensations. We want to be open. Allow. Spaciousness. Gazing out. Letting everything be as it is. Cultivating an openness and a curiosity to this thing called awareness. Letting go of the habitual tendency to try to control. Whatever occurs, allow, without stopping, without analyzing. Don't investigate the past. Don't anticipate what might be coming. Just turn gently inward and just be. In this practice of awakening, I often get curious about and ask myself and study the text to understand, what am I awakening from? What am I awakening to? And one of the things that we're awakening from is the illusion that we are this body, that we are this identity that has been conditioned over years, depending on how old you are, few years, many years. This world around us that creates this idea that there's something for us to work around. So all kinds of things get created in order for us to work with this illusion. It arrives from a place of fear, religion, prayer, sacrifices, hopes, dreams. All these systems have been created to help us navigate the world around us, but from a place that is sort of a monster of our own making. And so this practice invites us to look at what is really true. Who are we really? What place does our mind hold? Where does it hold us? Where does it hold us into thinking we're something we're not? And so if you're a studier of Dharma and of Buddhism, you'll notice so many of the texts try to use language to differentiate between this idea of mind and body, mind/body, and awareness. Part of what we're awakening to is our Buddha nature. Not part of, it is what we're awakening to. Our Buddha nature. Pure awareness, pure isness, pure being. And on the gradual path to awakening, we spend our time and our practice getting glimpses of and more in touch with that part of what already is. We're not bringing something from the outside in, which is why all of the teachers instruct us to go inward. They're not saying go look around you and go be like somebody else. They're saying come home to who you already are. And how we do that is we sit and we pay attention so that we can get the glimpse, the reminder of who we really are. Jiggle Kinsey talks about us, awareness and mind as being like ice and water. Right? On the surface, on the face of it, ice and water appear to be two different things. One is a solid form, one is a liquid. But what we all know, because we're all adults here, we all know that at the foundation, ice and awareness are hydrogen and water. They're made up of the same elements. So our awareness, our Buddha nature, and our mind are actually the same. So we're not trying to get rid of our mind. I feel like over these, 25, 27 odd years that I've been practicing, one of the biggest obstacles I run into inside of myself is trying to do something about my mind. Trying to do something, and it was really unconscious for a very long time that my mind was the problem, right? My thoughts were the problem, rather than recognizing that it is it. Our awareness is not separate from our mind. So the essence of ice, although it appears to be solid in form, is water. And the essence of water is the same essence as ice. And so if we can keep doing this work to embrace, to conquer, however you want to look at it, this truth, so that we can distinguish that there is no separation, that awareness lies in the depth of the mind. Ice can be held, but molten ice is water. They are not two things, they are inseparable. Our mind and our awareness are inseparable. Mind is not awareness that's been diluted. Mind's nature, when it's realized, is awareness itself. And what this practice allows us to do is to practice to build our confidence in the truth of that. At first, our mind appears as this sort of like child who's constantly having a tantrum, who wants this and doesn't want that and is uncomfortable, and it's like aversion, attraction, aversion, attraction, aversion, attraction. And just like a child who's having a tantrum, for those of you who have kids or grandkids or nieces or nephews or even just neighbors, that when a child is having a tantrum, generally it needs some loving space. You cannot talk them out of it. You cannot talk your mind out of it. And so we sit to create a loving space to let our mind settle, to work itself out. So we rest, resting with attention, resting at ease, relaxed and serene, letting whatever occurs occur. So let's do this again. Arrive again on your seat. Trusting that who you are, you already are. Who your most beautiful, luminous, light-filled Buddha nature is right here. It's nowhere else. And in the sitting and in the stillness, you're going to allow it to arise. And at first, it'll arise in glimpses. And over time, you'll experience it more of the time. And the promise is that if we keep doing this practice in this very lifetime, you can awaken and stabilize that awakening. There is perfection in the imperfection of it all, just as it is. expanding your awareness, opening wide, allowing it all to be as it is. And now close your eyes while staying open, gazing out directly through your eyelids, allowing the light in, allowing the darkness. And ever so gently turn your gaze in on itself, back towards the seer. Breathe into that space. Relax into it. And now gently turn your gaze outward. See if you can expand that spaciousness, not just outward, but back inward and upward and downward and behind you, creating a 360-degree sphere of open awareness. And allow yourself to rest in that. Nyosho Kempo says, when you look directly at the nature of mind, there is nothing to improve and nothing to abandon. The moment you seek, you've turned away. The moment you rest, you are free. Close out with the path clearing and wish fulfilling prayer to Padmasambhava. Dosum Sanjay Guru Rinpoche Nudru Kundak Dewa Chen Pojam Barche Kunsel Dudu Drak Posel Sowadep Sojin Gilap Tu So Chinang Sangwei Barche Jiwadang Sampalunji Drupar Jingilo. Precious guide, one with all the Buddhas of the three times, blissful presence and source of all spiritual accomplishments, fierce destroyer of illusion who dispels every obstruction, we pray to you for blessing, inspiration, and realization. Please remove all outer, inner, and secret obstacles and spontaneously fulfill our aspirations. We'll do the bodhicitta dedication. Janchuk Simchuk Rinpoche Makye Panam Ke Gyurchik Ke Panyam Par Me Payang Gonne Gondu Pelwar Shok. May the pure, brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. So I'd love to open it up to any questions or practice questions, anything about anything. I'll do my best to respond. If you have something, I promise you someone else does as well. So you're welcome to put it in the chat. I have a question. So the quote was from Nosho Kempo, and I will put it in the chat. And I'll read it again while I'm putting it in there. So it says, when you look directly at the nature of mind, there is nothing to improve and nothing to abandon. I mean, even if we just stopped there, how beautiful is that? The moment you seek, you've turned away. The moment you rest, you are free. So we have some exciting news. It's sort of a hold the date. We're working on the logistics, but you're the first to know that on January 4th, we will be holding a virtual one-day retreat in which Lama Surya, Lama Roger, myself, and a few other senior students will be leading. We have nothing digital right now. Hopefully it'll be up by next week, and we'll remind you every week. But January 4th from 9:30 to 4:30 Eastern Time, Lama Surya will be holding a one-day retreat over Zoom. So I don't know about you, but I'm thrilled. It's been a year. Very, very grateful to have him ready to transmit again. And as always, I encourage you, if you can, even $1, anything you can contribute to the Dzogchen Foundation's administrative costs, really, and support of Llama's rewirement. Well, love to you all. I'll leave this link open for a few more moments, and we'll have more. It'll come out in email, it'll be on social media, and it'll be here on Town Hall, so you'll have a chance to register. Thank you all.